This is Kate from Inside Kate's Kitchen. And since she's been teaching me, now it's my turn.
Yeah, and I can't wait to learn to make roux.
Today we're making traditional Louisiana roux. And I apologize for the noise in the background. We're also canning. We're starting out with 2 cups of vegetable oil. And we've got it in a large cast iron skillet. And we're letting it heat up on high temperatures until it simmers. We're going to test it out to see if it's ready. Okay. So you're going to take a small pinch of flour and just going to drop it in.
See how it bubbles?
See how it bubbles?
That's also how you test it if you're going to fry like chicken or something.
Right. Right. Now the trick is we're going to start turning this down. We're going to add 4 cups of white flour. Not all at one time. We're going to add it slowly. And we use a flat bottom wooden spoon. So I'm going to sprinkle this in there a little bit. And we're going to start stirring. A little bit at a time.
And it's just flour. There's no salt.
No seasoning at all. The reason we don't season it is because a lot of times the seasoning will burn much faster than the flour.
This is a long process, folks. You have to stir it once you get all the flour in for an hour, for several minutes.
45 minutes to sometimes long, an hour, sometimes even longer. It depends on your coloring, things like that. Notice I'm turning the temperature down as I go. I'm about down to medium heat now. You don't want it to bubble up over the edges of your pot. And you want to make sure that you keep stirring it. You don't want it to sit in place because it'll burn. If it burns, one little speck burns, that's it. The whole thing is bitter. You see, we're already changing colors.
It's also getting thick already.
Yep. You can go a little thicker or a little thinner. I prefer that this recipe will fill a quart jar. Roux is used to make gravies, gumbos, étouffées, jambalaya, pretty much any Cajun dish you have. You would put it into boiling water and stir it with a whisk until it dissolves. See how it's bubbling? Mm-hmm. I've got it at about medium heat. If it starts to bubble a little higher than this and starts popping, we want to go ahead and turn it down some. Because you definitely don't want it to pop and pop up to where it can get onto your skin. It will burn you. But notice I'm going all the way around the pot. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like cutting grass.
Kind of like what?
Cutting grass. Okay. You make sure you cover all of the bottom of your skillet, not missing a spot. Because if it sits in a spot for too long, then it'll start to burn. Just keep it moving. And the more it moves, the longer it moves, the longer it sits on the heat, the darker it's going to get. And we're looking for the consistency of like dark brown.
What color?
Yeah, the dark brown color.
So I'm going to see what it feels
Sure.
like.
Just be real careful not to splash out of the edge.
Right. That's not really hard.
No, it's not difficult at all. It's just time consuming.
And I'm noticing that as I push it away from me, it opens up and you can see the bottom of the pan.
Right. And that's why I use the flat bottom spoon. Mm-hmm. You don't want to use a metal spoon because the metal can react with the flour and oil and give it a funny taste.
And it would probably get hot too.
Yeah, that it could.
The wooden spoon wouldn't be as apt to get hot.
Right. The wooden spoon is not going to conduct the heat. Now, I normally make roux in the wintertime. Mm-hmm. And I make batches pretty much like for a couple weeks worth. Yeah. I usually make a batch, and that way we have probably 6 or 8 jars of roux lined up. I'm noticing it's starting to darken. Mm-hmm. While you're cooking it, you're looking for little specks of it. You don't want any black specks in there. You can hurry it along and you can raise your heat a little bit and let it bubble a little harder, but if you miss a single spot on the bottom of that skillet for a pass or two, then it's a possibility you burn it. Once you get a black burnt spot in there, that's it. You are starting over. Now in Louisiana, you can buy a jar of roux for, I don't know, about $4 or $5. But it doesn't taste the same.
I was going to say, homemade is usually better on things like this.
And there is a microwave recipe. I've tried it. It does work. It's just not quite as flavorful as the cast iron. With the cast iron, you're putting in little bits of flavor from everything you've ever cooked.
Right.
We cook a lot with cast iron. Your goal is just keep it moving. Make sure it's not sitting on the bottom in one spot.
Well, it's 2 cups of oil and 4 cups of flour, right?
Yep.
And so I can cut it in half and do 1 cup of oil and 2 cups of flour in a smaller cast iron pan.
Yes. Yep.
And I'd only make probably a pint instead of a quart.
Right.
But still, I can handle my smaller pan much more easily.
Yep. The trick is low and slow. I'm going to take a small pan and I'm going to put my jar on it and I'm putting it in the oven
to get it warm.
To get it warm.
Let me straight places with you.
Okay. And I put it in the oven cold. And I'm going to put my temp all the way down. My temperature.
Oh, okay. Down to 200 or so. That's the lowest mine goes.
I think it's 200. Oh, I'm wrong. 170.
Very good.
That's the lowest mine goes. Which is fine. You just want that glass warm. You don't want to put this into a cold jar because it'll shatter.
You don't ever want to put a hot liquid in a cold jar.
Right.
Ever.
And we're going to use a stainless steel funnel.
Oops, sorry.
That's okay. You definitely do not want to use the plastics. It will melt. Your plastic funnel will then become part of your roux in your jar. And you will throw it away. All of it. The roux, the funnel, and everything. If your heat is too high, it will start to bubble like it's boiling. And it can actually splash up onto your skin. We've been cooking for about 40 minutes. And we're really getting to the dark color. I'm going to show you how to know if it's as dark as you want it. Because as it cools, it's going to darken. Take a saucer, put a dot out, and set it off to the side for a minute and let it start to cool. Your skillet is very, very, very hot. And it's heavy. So if you can, make sure you have another hand nearby if you need it. If you have trouble picking up the pot. Now you can scoop this out with a spoon if you really need to. That's about where we need to be, and we're at 48 minutes. Roughly about 45, 48 minutes. All of this is going to solidify, and you're going to have oil on the top of the jar. When you use the jar, when you unseal it to use it, you're going to pour the oil off into a small glass container or something like that. Use whatever roux that you need and replace the oil on top. The oil acts as a seal to keep bacteria and stuff from growing on top of the roux. So you're going to notice about a ½ an inch worth of oil on the top of the jar. That's normal. That's what it's supposed to look like. And it won't take long. That jar is going to seal on its own. And then as soon as it's cooled down, I usually leave it overnight, just like regular canning jars. I set it off to the side on a towel. And it's good to put in the pantry.